How's everyone doing? Welcome to my 1 week later Nintendo Switch 2 review. Here, you can see I have Mario Kart on the side, Mario Kart World. The game, I have my gripes with it. It is a great game, but that game is not the console. I want to really go in depth with the console. I did kind of a first impressions with my last video, and I feel like I didn't say enough about what I needed to say. This console is disappointing, but in a good way. This console is amazing. I personally believe that this console is great if it wasn't compared to its previous self. The Nintendo Switch 1 knocked it out of the park so hard to where it gave us unreal expectations. The Switch 2 is an improvement on every single way on the Switch 1, but it doesn't feel like enough innovation to be awarded Switch 2. It almost feels like a Nintendo Switch Pro rather than a Nintendo Switch 2. Here I have right here are the Joy-Cons. Snapped on the controller they provide you right away. These are really comfortable. These are great. It's obviously it's not going to be a PS5 controller like I have right here, but the Joy-Cons are great. After many hours of play, I can say the snap-on, snap-off mechanic is so much better than the slide-on. This just literally pops right in place. I feel like I'm addicted to doing this. Like, it's just like when I'm playing, like, I have a habit of just snapping on, snapping right back off because it's so easy. I don't know if anybody's shown you guys before, but there's this black button right here. That's what you click to slide it on and off. The Joy-Cons are phenomenal. I have zero gripes about the Joy-Cons. What I do have gripes about is the console. So, if you go to the eStore, it's much improved. It is a complete overhaul of the Switch 1 system. It's way faster. It has a For You tab, which has been needed, and overall just a better improvement. But it makes you think, why couldn't have this been on the Switch 1? Why was the Switch 1 store so laggy and this one runs so great? It's like, yeah, we love that it's great here, but how come it wasn't there in the first place? Another example, Scarlet and Violet, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. It is a much better game. The graphics, obviously, is not going to be Elden Ring graphics. Is not going to be anything realistic. It's still Pokemon graphics. But for what it is, the graphics are way better. The game runs extremely smooth. In my captures, for whatever reason, it was capturing it below what my actual rate on my screen was. So if it looks a little framey, that's not because of the game. That's just because of my capture software. The game runs great. It honestly brings a whole new life to it. I didn't enjoy Scarlet and Violet my first playthrough on my Switch, and I even had a Switch OLED. I didn't enjoy it because it was a framey, buggy mess. On here, obviously, it's still not perfect, but they fixed so many things that makes it feel like an actual game instead of Play-Doh like it was previously. Like, there's no pop. Like, I haven't really experienced many pop-in on the OLED. Pokemon would get stuck in the walls due to the game loading in slower than the Pokemon would load in, right? So the map would load in after the Pokemon did, and it would cause Pokemon to get stuck in walls, like flying Pokemon, all that. That is fixed. To my knowledge, it is fixed. I've fully restarted the game. I've gotten to the point where you defeat the first star boss, and so, I packed him up. He got out of there. I think the Switch 2 is an improvement on every single aspect. There's nothing I miss about the Switch 1, which is what it should be. I just don't think there's been anything to knock it out of the park that makes it feel like a worthy upgrade. And when you compile all these things together, it starts feeling like, yeah, maybe this is worth the upgrade. But I'm going to be honest with you. If you don't have, if you're on the fence about buying it, this video should not convince you to get it. This video should just lay out the facts and you can make your own decision. I think the console is great. I love it. I just think they should have done more. And whether that be more launch titles, which we're really missing right now. I've gone through, I've replayed Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is amazing looking. Obviously, I didn't finish it. I was just replaying it. I haven't got a Tears of the Kingdom yet to really say how that is. Breath of the Wild looks even better. Mario Kart World, great launch title. It needed more. It really needed more. I can do a full in-depth review on that soon. I almost have the game 100%ed, so I'll do a full in-depth review on that pretty soon. We needed more games. The only game we have is Mario Kart. That's really the only launch title, besides maybe the Welcome Tour, but who the hell is buying that? That's a gimmick that should have been included with the Switch for free. So what are we waiting on? We're waiting on the new Pokemon game, but that's not coming for a while. Donkey Kong launches, I think, this week, so we should get Donkey Kong soon. Donkey Kong should have been a right away Switch launch title. I don't know what happened to where they delayed it 2 weeks. I don't know if they want us to dive into Mario Kart that badly that they delayed it, but I believe those two games should have came out right away, almost like Odyssey and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I mean, obviously Mario Kart 8 was a Wii U game, But my point still stands. We needed more. Right now, if you didn't get the Switch 1, I highly recommend you to get the Switch 2. It is great. If you have the Switch 1, especially the Switch 1 OLED, it makes it hard for me to recommend this yet, just due to the lack of titles. All you're getting it for right now is to play older titles with newer graphics in Mario Kart World. Great game. I just don't know if it's worth it yet. I have yet to get Cyberpunk, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm going to get that. But if you're not playing Cyberpunk handheld, there's no point of getting it on the Switch, because if you do have another console, like I'm very lucky to have a PS5. I'm very lucky to have a PC. Other people aren't that lucky. But if you're looking to just play the Switch in dock mode and not handheld, I don't recommend the Switch. The Switch is at its best when it's handheld. I mean, where else are you gonna play Cyberpunk? I mean, obviously the Steam Deck, you can do that, but you can't play Cyberpunk, you can't play Mario Kart, you can't play all of Nintendo's titles on the go. But if you're buying the Switch and buying older titles like Cyberpunk, Alan Wake, or Split Fiction, games like that are launching on the Switch, or like Hitman that are launching on the Switch too, that you're just going to play docked, I don't recommend it, because it's going to be a worse experience than you get on a console like the PS5. Base PS5 is cheaper than Nintendo Switch 2, so if you're going to just play the Switch 2 in dock mode like I have it on here, don't get it. It's made for handheld. It shines on the handheld mode. I was getting an oil change. I sat there for 2 hours. I was happy as hell just playing my Switch. But obviously that experience wouldn't be the same if I'm sitting here at my desk and I'm saying, what would I rather play, the Switch or my PS5? It goes down more to the game I'm gonna play. It's not the console, it's the game. So if I'm gonna play a Cyberpunk, I'd rather play it on my PS5, more comfortable controller, and obviously a better graphics, better resolution, all this. But if I'm playing, obviously, if I'm sitting on my bed, the Nintendo Switch is the go-to every time, because nobody's trying to look over there. Like, it's just a better experience for that. So I think it really comes down to what you would do with the console. The console, in my eyes, like I've said, the console itself is great. It needs more. It needed another. If they gave it another 2 months to allow more games to come over, this would have been a way more successful launch. The numbers themselves, the console numbers themselves, this is one of the best, fastest selling game consoles of all time. I can flash it up on the screen right here. It's one of the fastest selling consoles of all time. I think the public opinion would have been better if it launched with more games. Like the PS5 got slack. When the PS5 first slack, what was everybody saying? The PS5 has no games. You still see that nowadays. Like, yeah, they got God of War, they got Spider-Man, but a lot of games were backwards compatible to where it didn't feel like the console needed to be here on its own. Yeah, the load times were better, the graphics were better, all this was better, but it didn't feel like a necessity because all the games you're playing are on the old console. That's the problem the Switch 2 is facing. Like, all of the new games you can play on the old console besides Mario Kart. So it's like, what is the point of getting the Switch 2 right now when you can play all the same games on your OLED, on your Switch 1? Until they really bridge the gap and bring us more games, I don't know if the Switch 2 is worth buying if you have a Switch 1. Now, if you skipped out on the whole Switch 1 start, I highly recommend getting it. It's a great console, but that's my thoughts, man. If I didn't put a price point on this, and I just rated the console itself, without the games, just the console itself, I'd rate it an 8.5. It runs great. The battery life leaves a little bit to be desired. The games look beautiful. When you have it in handheld, the games really do look beautiful. Mario Kart World looks great for what it is. Mario Kart World looks great. The Joy-Cons feel amazing. Like, with every snap, it feels so refined. Nothing feels like it's gonna break. It all feels really satisfying and perfect. I think it comes down to preference. If you think you'd use it, get it. If you think you're gonna get the console anyways, I would get it now just to be able to play it sooner. But if you don't think you're gonna eventually get it, this video should not convince you to get it if you weren't planning on it. So that's my review for the Nintendo Switch 2 1 week later. Hopefully this changes a month from now, 6 months from now, when I make those videos. Hopefully it's better, because I really believe this console could really take over and could be really good. I just need Nintendo to really lock in and deliver us more games and more experiences, because right now it's looking a little sleek. Love y'all if y'all watch. Peace.